Hello everyone, this is Krusty783 here, and I've been thinking of Prime Empire a lot again recently, and I've kind of come to a conclusion about how the season could have been a lot better. I believe this one simple change to the plot of Prime Empire could make the whole season a lot better if they ended up going through with it, but sadly they did not. If you end up enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like rating on it, and with that, let's get into the discussion. So, Prime Empire is pretty commonly agreed to be a kind of nothing season in terms of Ninjago. It definitely did have lasting impact in the long term, but in terms of character development, Prime Empire really had next to nothing to offer. It had a pretty interesting side character and thematic thread in the form of Aquino and the whole AI agency thing, but after Aquino it kind of just became the same story over and over again, and if it wasn't the same story as Aquino, it was basically just a nothing character in of itself. However, recently I thought of one simple change to Prime Empire that would fix the whole thing and give it a lot of impact in terms of the past of the show and the future. This one simple change will not only help to recontextualize and add meaning to previous Ninjago stories, but it will also make the ninja actually feel connected to the plot in an emotional and meaningful way. And this one simple change would be to not do this.
I'm afraid Zane and Pixel cannot enter the game.
Then we'll stay here and track down Dyer in real life.
That's right, I believe that of all of Prime Empire's problems, the absolute biggest one is that it arbitrarily locks Zane out from the main plot solely because he's a robot. In order to understand why I have so many grievances with this, we need to look back on the plot of Ninjago Season 11 and Zane's role in it. So Season 11 establishes to us that Zane's worst fear is completely losing his humanity and becoming nothing more than an emotionless robot. The second half of Season 11 sees Zane have his artificiality be used directly against him in an attempt by Vex to turn him into basically a mindless robotic slave who obeys his every whim. Now, I wonder if there's any characters in Prime Empire who have any kind of similar concerns or fears of basically having this exact thing happen to them.
I was created by Unagami. How can I be trusted? Perhaps I serve him. How can you be certain? What if I betray you?
Yeah, it's a real shame that we have no main characters who have basically lived out Aquino's fears exactly down to the smallest of details. It's a travesty really. That level of relatability between Aquino and this hypothetical main ninja would make for a really meaningful and resonant character story. Oh well, I guess we just gotta keep dreaming, I guess. Okay, but for real though, Zane, given what he went through with Vex in Season 11, would fit the themes of this season and fit all of these side characters' story arcs like a glove. The whole idea of the character stories in Prime Empire is that you always have a say in what you are and what you do. No matter if you're human, artificial or what, you decide what you want for yourself and nobody else. Giving Zane more relevance to this story would be perfect in my opinion. While having a J season focused on video games and electricity and stuff is cool, the J focus is so underutilized that honestly you could just throw it out and it really wouldn't change much about the season. What I'm proposing is make Prime Empire a Zane season. What is lost if you really do this? Ninjago Confidential? J having 30 seconds of interesting character development? I mean, don't get me wrong, Prime Empire Episode 13, Ninjago Confidential, is a pretty great episode, but I would happily take Zane getting a more involved character arc over one episode. So here's what I'm proposing. After the events of the Ice chapter, Zane is kind of an emotional wreck. He's constantly second guessing himself and doesn't really know what's human about him and what isn't, given the fact that Vex was so easily able to completely change him from like an emotional and mental level. So Zane is kind of going through an existential crisis right now. Then Prime Empire comes around and they're being challenged by this robot, Unagami, and then they go into the game as usual. From there, I think we should be sticking to what the Ninjago show writers did in the actual Prime Empire season. Show side characters like Aquino and Racer 7 overcoming their programming and becoming the best versions of themselves like they did in the actual TV show. But more importantly, we need to dial in on how these side characters' journeys influence Zane. If these random video game AIs have proven that they are more than their programming, why can't he? Here's what I'm thinking. Let's start the ninja's journey in the game in Terra Technica as in the show, but let's move the Racer 7 story to the start of the season. The ninja's first obstacle to getting to the end of the game is beating the Speedway 5 billion, and they need the help of Racer 7 in order to do this. Lloyd and Racer 7 have their same dynamic that they have in the show, but the key difference here is that Zane is listening this time. Zane sees Racer 7 overcome her programming, and this sticks with him in relation to his trauma regarding his time in the Netherrealm. This becomes important when they meet Aquino later on, and Zane finds out that Aquino has fears of what exactly happened to Zane happening to him. Now, imagine after that 4-episode story and a pretty long back and forth between Zane and Aquino, Zane gives Aquino this speech.
Unagami may have made Prime Empire, maybe even you, but he can't force you to do anything you don't want to. You have a choice, Aquino. You decide what you are, and what you do.
Then we will go together.
I think giving Zane a meaningful connection to these character stories would elevate Prime Empire from being just mediocre to being one of Ninjago's best seasons. Doing this would also fix a problem a lot of people have with the prior season, which is Zane ruled over the Netherrealm for decades and then it's never brought up again. I think giving Zane a plotline where he has to overcome the trauma associated with being the Ice Emperor by helping other AIs and showing them that they do have agency would be a really excellent way of continuing this story, putting the issues to rest for people, and it would be addressing those issues in a super heartfelt and meaningful way. Okay, that's all I have to say on this. I'd love to hear what you all think in the comments though. Am I completely on the mark here, or am I completely wrong? And if I am wrong, how would you do it differently? Be sure to let me know. If you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like rating on it and share it with a friend if you found it interesting enough to do so. Thank you to my wonderful channel members whose names will be on screen now. If you want to get a membership, be sure to hit the join button on my channel, although do not feel pressured to. And if you like Ninjago discussion videos like this, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know as soon as these videos come out. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.